Peace and Pan-Africanism, what up, what up? My Peace and Pan-Africanism, what up, what up? My YouTube, BIGBROLGND. And if you're joining on YouTube, you're now watching a replay. If you want to catch my live when it's live, tap the top right corner notification bell on my TikTok page, BIGBROLGND. And yeah, you'll be notified when I go live. So yeah, I'm gonna test out this live. Y'all know we've done this live many times. So if anything weird happens, we'll know. We've done this. This is the the regular live. So if anything out of the ordinary were to happen, we would know. Keep tapping like. I'm gonna bring up the guests when we get to 2K likes. So everybody that's in here, tap like, share the live, share it to a few friends. You don't know these people on TikTok. You may as well just send them a share. It's not like, they're gonna think less of you. Just go ahead, share the live with as many people as you can. Yeah, let's get it popping. Anybody that wants to come up and answer a question, feel free. The floor is yours. We are giving out grades. So you're just gonna give us an answer, yes, no, type it in the comments. Come on up to elaborate. We're just gonna have a good time, okay? We're just here to have a discussion, not a debate. Maybe learn a little bit about, some things regarding race and interracial relationships. I'm gonna bring up some guests now. Just a moment. We're also gonna talk one at a time. I'm going to ask the same introductory question to everybody. That is age, race, and pronouns. If you're not comfortable,
Why can't I hear you?
you can't hear me? You
Wait,
can't hear
say something again.
Hello?
Can y'all hear Brother
Oh, I
Legend?
can hear
Can
you,
y'all
but it's
hear
not
down
on
there?
their microphone. It's not on their microphone though. It just sounds like you're talking regular. Nope, can't
They
hear
can
you.
hear you. They can
I
hear you.
can't
I
hear
just
you on
can't.
that. I
Oh,
can't
I
hear you on
can't
that
hear
one.
you anymore, Brother Legend.
Wait, I can hear him. He's
I,
not talking right now.
no, he switched the
Can y'all hear
microphones.
me?
Okay,
I
Hello?
yeah, I
can
can
hear
hear
you
you
Hello?
now.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, cool.
I thought it
I
was
don't know what
lagging
happened.
out.
Okay.
Oh wait, where did
No,
D go?
maybe that's what happened last time. I don't know. All right, so let's start with the brown heart at the bottom. Could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
My name is Wedad. I'm 27 and my pronouns are she, her. I'm black.
All right, talk to us.
I don't think that interracial relationships are harmful to the black community because I think who you love is really genuinely up to you and who you choose to be in a relationship is up to you. I think that if you already had internalized anti-blackness and you genuinely have done nothing for your community as a whole, then maybe who you date isn't really the problem, you're the problem, right? But yeah, that's just how I feel. Is racial preference a fetish? Absolutely it is. Can non-black people be pro-black? I don't think that they can truly be pro-black. Can black and white culture peacefully coexist? No.
Okay. So wait, for the second one, did you say yes or no?
I said yes.
Okay. So you got the last three right.
Do you want the whole panel to give their
Wait.
answers to everything and then we talk?
Wait, what do you mean I got the last three right?
Yeah, you got the last three right. The first one, you stumbled hard.
No, I
but
don't think I don't.
I'll give you what?
Okay, wait,
I'm
hear
sorry.
me out.
We
Hear
give
me out.
grades here. I'm sorry.
Hear me out. Hear me
You
out.
must be new. Okay.
Okay, wait, hear me out. Hear me out, because we can
Uh-huh.
disagree. We can disagree, and I'm open to that, right? But I think that ultimately, who you are with should not be not only it shouldn't be a reflection of who you are, right? Fully and totally in terms of
Who
your
you're with
activism towards.
shouldn't be a reflection of who you are.
in terms of your community, right? Because you should be consistent before and after that person, regardless. So if you were never pro-Black to begin with, and you always had a level of self-hatred, and you weren't involved in your community, then who you're with is definitely not going to change that, because you were already cooning before and you're cooning after.
All right, please don't say that C word
Okay.
anymore.
Okay.
But I don't see the correlation there, because we're talking about our interracial relationships harmful to the Black community. We're not saying are anti-Black. You took the onus off the relationship and put it on the Black person. And I think when we do that, we forget that race is not like a natural thing. Like race is an oppressive social construct. Like it's not, it's a caste system literally built to exploit Africans and African people of their resources and labor. So it's not like, so when we say our interracial relationships problematic, we need to remember that anything racial, if it's intra whatever, as long as race exists as a social construct, it's going to be harmful, and it's going to be harmful to those it was meant to harm. I mean, we've had interracial relationships for almost 60 years now, 60 something years. What has it done for Black? Has it benefited? Has, all right, and just because
But
something
why
doesn't
does
benefit doesn't mean it's harmful. Okay, but look at the state of the Black family since we've had interracial relationships. Has it gotten better or has it gotten worse? Many will say that the decline of the Black family structure began after Loving versus Virginia.
Yeah, I would be poised to disagree with those people, because I think that ultimately your relationship is not going to change the paradigm or dynamic of the way that race relations are navigated in this country. Realistically speaking, the only thing you can do is be a level-headed individual.
Brother, your mic went out.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Huh?
Yeah, you're better.
Okay, so again, you're doing something again that people do to kind of like find a way to make white people comfortable in my life, and that is you're hyper focusing on
Hold
individualism.
on.
When we're talking about communities and groups of people,
Hold on.
you're focusing on
Because I think
what?
that's unfair, because I don't prioritize whiteness at any point in my everyday life, right?
No, I know, but I don't know, I don't know what other reason you would have to focus on individuals and say that who you marry is not going to change the paradigm of race relations. Like, no, but if at one point there was a time where it was a Black man would be turned into a tree ornament for looking at a woman on the other side of the playing field. And then all of a sudden, they didn't improve our conditions of our communities. They didn't fix the disenfranchisement, the lack of resources and generational wealth. They didn't start hiring us more. They didn't start, making sure that our women are able to give birth better. Instead, they decided not to give us something we marched for, but to give us the ability for them to come into our communities and say that they love us. And look what it's done. It's been a tool used to disarm those in our community that have had the most power, the most wealth, and siphon wealth away from Black communities. We've seen it.
But see, that's where I have the issue, because what you kind of do in that scenario is you're blaming the person who isn't the monster that isn't there, rather than the fact that these people were exactly who they were when they entered into these relationships, right? And if they
You're
genuinely,
going back to individualism.
well, it is about individualism, because
No, it's not.
no,
No, it's
I'll
not.
tell you,
Individualism is a European idea.
no,
We're talking about groups. It's like I'm talking about the Lakers, and you keep saying, well, if your shoes were never tied, you're never going to be a good basketball
but
player.
that's the
And
truth.
I'm
If
talking
you were
about the
never,
Lakers winning games. I'm not talking about individuals. You keep going
so
to like,
no, because these, and I understand that we as individuals create smaller subsects of communities that we are a part of, right? And our dynamics can shift. can shift entire paradigms, but ultimately, fundamentally, if this person was never for the community, it wouldn't matter whether or not they were with somebody of a different race.
But see, again, you're going back to trying to convince. For some reason, you're saying you keep taking the conversation to a place it doesn't have to go, and you keep like making it go that way, to where I'm trying to now say that black people have to marry black people in order to change their heart and get the raccoon out of them. Like no one is making that point up here. No one is talking about that. We're looking at the broad history of interracial relationships. Broad meaning not hyper focusing on individuals, but looking on a tool given to us by those that brought us to this country against our will, interracial marriage. Because at one point, like I said, they were unaliving our ancestors for these interracial relationships. When someone that is your enemy says, no, you cannot go into this room, and they defend it, they will unalive you to make sure you don't go into a certain room. You don't touch the doorknob. And then one day, you wake up and they're like, oh yeah, go ahead, go right in. Do you trust them now? Do you say, oh, okay. So this is what I'm trying to say. People that continue to oppress us, who unalived our ancestors so that we would not do something, then turned around and decided for us. We did not march for it. Every piece of black progress that has happened in America, black people have had to march, get hosed down, get dogs biting our ass, and all this other stuff in order for it to happen. Any progress has happened with black people because we went out and got it. We went out and fought for it. This is the only thing that we didn't have to fight for.
But I feel like,
and it's something that turned around the power dynamics and the structures of black families. Today, black women are the least married demographic in America.
but
Today, black men are the least married male demographic in America. We are not together. And then on top of that, as of the past 2 years, 1 in 4 black men have been marrying outside of our community. So that in itself shows you just how much wealth is leaving our community when they marry outside the community. How can you sit here and say that that is not harmful?
because
Like, don't take the conversation to,
no, but
oh,
no,
if he was once a raccoon, he's always going to be a raccoon. Like, don't take it to that. We're not
but
on an ideological scope.
but
We're in an economic. We're talking about we're talking about generational wealth. We're talking about family structures. We're talking about the building block of a community. We're not talking about individualism and how they
but that is an
their
individual
political stance.
No, okay, so I think that was extremely unfair. I don't think that you needed to say all of that because I completely understand what the destruction of the black family has done to the black community as a whole, right? I understand that it's obviously been systemic in nature. However, fundamentally, I think that it is not to, and I'm sorry, I'm going to reiterate this statement, right? Because every single thing you said, I believe in, right? But at that same time, I'm gonna go where I'm celebrated.
But no, don't take the
No.
conversation.
I'm gonna
rebut to what I
it's
said.
there because it's there.
Like rebut to what I said and why you're not focused on that. Don't just focus on a different aspect
So what you
of where
said,
you want
what
to
you
take the
said,
conversation.
what you said was completely true. Do I think that that has anything to do with the statement that you have up there? Absolutely.
That was all harmful, was it not?
But that doesn't have anything to do with.
So it is harmful, though. You just said it was true.
No, but
If I say
I'm not going to
punching
deny
someone in the
systemic.
face is harmful,
No,
is
I'm not
punching
going to
someone in
deny
the face
systemic
harmful,
racism.
and you say I agree, but their pinky toe is fine, then
No,
that,
because
it's like, are you serious? Just the answer is yes. Then
no, because
what are we
you're
even talking
you're
about?
actively trying to make it seem like I'm over here advocating for interracial relationships or whatever, when in reality,
Yeah,
I'm
have you
not.
done anything different?
No, what I've done here is actually try to say that if somebody was never for the community, it doesn't
How
matter
are you
who they're
going
with
somewhere?
it.
But how are you going somewhere that you're celebrated when the same community is still oppressing and benefiting off the backs of black people's oppression?
Okay, and we're gonna
Where
act
is the
like
celebration
and
for
we're gonna
you?
act like black women on average are not with black men higher than any other demographic. We're gonna act like the majority
We
of
are. That's
violence.
exactly the
No,
point.
no, no.
Because
We're not gonna
we're
we're not
at
gonna
where
sit
we're
here.
being
We're not gonna act
celebrated.
like the majority.
We're
We're
with
not gonna
them
sit here and act
celebrating
like the
us.
majority of the
That's the
violence
goofiness.
we're not gonna sit here and act like the majority of
No,
domestic
don't get me wrong.
violence
Are
and
you using
brutalization of
what? And
black
what
women
statistics are
comes
you
from
using? Are
black
you
men.
using
We're not gonna
femicide?
sit here and we're not
What
gonna act
statistics
like
are you
black men
using?
aren't.
Because right now,
You want
transgender
me to?
black women are being focused on more than any other group of dynamic when it comes
Girl,
to
you
black
brought
women
in
that are being unalive.
transgender people as if I care, girl. It's about
And,
women, right?
Because
I'm
they're
sorry. I'm not
included
gonna.
in the
is,
numbers, Goofy, when it talks about
What
black women
numbers?
being
Cite your
unalive.
sources. And who's unaliving these
I'm
black women?
asking you,
And who's
are you
unaliving them? Quickly,
referring to
Stephen.
femicide?
Quickly,
who's
Stephen.
the
Yes.
largest
Stephen,
Yes,
who
demographic of
hella
individuals
Stephen?
femicide.
That
with
must be your
Quickly.
illicit
man.
sex
Your
Because it
from
white
is
man
black.
is
black
you
women
with.
that are the victims of human trafficking?
Because you sound
Like,
hella
I'm sorry. I'm
goofy.
not going to wear a cape for black
You
men. I'm
sound
sorry. If
hella
you're
goofy
expecting me to
because
do
you're
that,
trying to
it's
go where you're
black men who
celebrated,
are
and where you're
unaliving black
celebrating is over there
women.
unaliving black women. That's where you're
And
going to get
Nobody has
celebrated and
unalived more
vaccinated,
black women
weirdo.
than white men. Nobody on earth has unalived in the past 500 years. No, I'll say 500 years. Nobody is responsible for the unaliving of black women more than white men. That's the end of that right there.
Like I need, like, King, do you mind if I add another
Yeah.
data point? Like y'all don't really understand that, like, the grape of women of African ancestry, enslaved women of African ancestry in this country by white men, literally changed the entirety of African American genetics in the United States. Like, the average African American has between 17.5 to 24% European DNA because of the grape of women of African ancestry during slavery. Like, literally, the largest atrocity has shifted African American genetics. And her answer is that, oh, I mean, it's perfectly fine if we decide to just dive right back into the same people who have historically been the biggest perpetrators of graping our own women. Like, come on, that's
Ridiculous.
yeah, so
I mean, the
fighting
fact
for
that
it.
2.6 million of us is in the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, the fact that
And many of those
up
were
to
black
20
women who were
million,
fighting
up
back
to 20,
against all that.
right?
Yeah.
The Congo. Look at the Congo. Look at Leopold. Like, come on, man. Come on. Black men are not Leopold. Black men we're not doing that much damage. We are also, though, to be held responsible in not protecting our sisters. And we can talk about that. That is a separate conversation. But whenever someone comes on this live, I'm gonna warn y'all, little raccoons, now. Anyone come on this live that wants to come up here and turn a conversation about interracial relationships into a conflict between us and our community, and start to focus on how we are the problem with our oppression, is already denying our oppression, and you're gonna get kicked down. We have a 5 Panther Paw rule. It's not just going to be because I want to kick you down, but I will want to kick you down. But it'll be the 5 Panther Paw rule. We've made this a democracy. We're not just going to do that, but don't come up here and try to focus on saying black people are the problem with their own oppression, because you don't do that with anyone else. You don't do that with anyone else. We're the only ones that are told we need to be perfect in order to speak about our oppression. No one in the history of people talking about World War II has ever thought to bring up that Jewish men, more than anyone else in Jewish community, is essaying and being mean to the Jewish women in Germany, and that's why where they go through what they going through. Like, no one does that with any other race. We don't talk about Asian on Asian crime. We don't talk about it, but when it comes to black people, for some reason, we need to focus on where we're imperfect in a system that has created a hostile environment for us that was not part of our customs and culture going back to pre-colonization. So yes, there has been a major uptick in black on black violence, and there is people in our community that have been traumatized and perpetuate that trauma onto others. We talk about that, but this is not the live for it. And it's not something that we brought to this country. It's something this country gave us. I'm gonna go to the next guest,
I'm
y'all.
not surprised. She just had a Palestinian flag in the bio. She just had that says "No peace on stolen land," and I was like, "The call's coming from inside the house, sister. Wake up."
Oh
I
my
was like,
goodness.
"Okay,
Not the
Palestinian flag. That's all, Mamacita."
You
Hey,
know,
that was it.
but did you
No peace on stolen land.
do you
Wait,
know
what's
who
wrong with
abuses
that?
Palestinian women
That was
more
after the
than
flag.
What's wrong
you
with
know
having
who?
a
Nothing's wrong with
Palestinian
that. But we're
flag in the
saying we've been
bio?
having we've been having our Palestine for how long, and nobody recognizes it. She said she
She
was
just
black.
said,
She didn't
but
come
she
up here and
said
say
no.
she said she was black.
Okay, hold on. She just said she's not
You
going
know,
to cape for black men, but she's got a Palestinian flag. That's the hypocrisy.
that's the
What's wrong with having a Palestinian flag as a black person is that Palestine don't got nothing to do with us.
That's not
It
your
does
nation
have something to do with how we're oppressed. It does not have something to do with us. And we have plenty of things
at all.
going on in our own community and problems we need to solve before we turn to people that have been part of the problem with our people and
You
try
ain't
to
helping
solve their
yourself.
problems for them.
That's
Like,
right,
let's
my
be
brother.
real. The Arab slave trade, like the East, like the slave trade there, very much so is still going on. And there's a lot of brothers and sisters that are forcibly being held there against their will, being engaged in what they call like these working contracts. But in reality, it's like the second that you even attempt to engage in the working contract, it's literally somebody selling you into slavery.
It's
Like that's what's
documented.
going on.
It's
Exactly. Yep. That's
documented.
what's going on
It's
there right.
documented that the
Wait, hold on,
Arabian.
steady. This is not that kind of live. I appreciate you. We're gonna come up to you after this next guest, okay?
Oh yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. My bad.
Luna, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Sure. I'm 34. I'm a black woman, and pronouns are she, her.
Okay. You want to answer questions for us?
Sure. Are interracial relationships harmful to the black community? I think they're only harmful when you start making a social media profile to showcase your interracial relationship. I don't like that. Is racial preference a fetish? 100% it is. Can non-black people be pro-black? No, because I feel like being pro-black will go against the very nature of how most non-black people think about blackness, and most people are not very good at interrogating their nature. They're not really good at interrogating how they've been indoctrinated with anti-blackness. And so I don't think it's really possible for non-black people to be pro-black. It's hard enough for black people to truly be pro-black. Can black and white culture peacefully coexist? Absolutely not. Because the foundation of white culture is unaliving and destruction, and no culture can truly peacefully coexist with that.
Okay. I'm gonna give her a C. Y'all really stumbling on that first one. I think I think more than social media profiles, there's way more examples that we can give in how interracial relationships have been harmful to the black community.
I mean, I give
Yeah.
myself an A, but all right.
It's not your life.
What?
That's fine.
So don't
D,
for what effort?
what grade do you give her,
'Cause
D?
ain't no.
Oh. And I'm glad that she thinks she the teacher in the room that she came and participated in the grade. Like F sis.
No, I heard the grade. I just don't agree with. I think I have an A. Like, I mean, you say you give me a C.
Don't
That's
get to
fine.
pick up your
How
grade.
can you say?
You got the
How can you
teacher.
say the last question that we can't coexist together peacefully, but you want number one to be non-detrimental? How? What the oxymoron? Like, how is that? What
How can
level
we
of
not
delusion is
exist
that? We can't
together, but we
coexist
can exist in
peacefully,
the
but
bedroom?
yeah.
Like, how do we
Man, get
exist in
your
the
That's a
fetish.
good
bedroom
Like,
perfectly
how
question.
you get
fine,
number
but
two
That's a
we
right?
good
can't
question.
Hold on,
exist?
How did you
y'all.
get
Too
number
many of y'all at
two
one time. Hold
right?
on. Somebody stop talking because now y'all talking at the same time.
I do say that to my professor. Thank you.
And you still fail. I find it very
No.
interesting that like Kate, the other two, They're okay with fucking you. They're not okay with freeing you. And it shows up in the conversation. Even you understand it because you'll say that everything else can work in an interracial relationship, but all the things that are actually coexisting amongst these people is a problem. Now, how you all right with laying in the bed with them, but to live outside in the real world and deal with the issues that are coming up every day, you know it's a problem.
Oh, to be
Insanity.
clear, interracial relationships are not for me. But I just think that most people who are in one and not flaunting it on social media, like that's their whole social media presence. I don't really see, because first of all, interracial relationships are not just between white people and another race. It's between other races that have been historically oppressed.
We're talking about between the black community, though. We're talking about the black community. We're not talking about
Yeah, I
Asian
know.
and
So
white
you can
people.
be in an interracial relationship with an Asian person, with a Latino person. It's not always just a white person. So I don't think it's harmful. I think the most harmful it'll be is when it's with a white person and when it's like flaunted on social media as if they're solving racism by being in a relationship.
Solving
About no
okay,
flaunting.
okay.
It's the
All right.
realities.
Okay, you're right. Latino is not a race.
I mean,
Sorry.
here's the thing, right? Let's say, all right, it's just weird to me because there can't be, first of all, love, true love in the midst of violence. Like all of these other groups, if you want, because I feel like you're going to broaden up the conversation from white people because you know you can't win that one. So let's talk about Asian and indigenous, mestizo people, right? Even in these other groups, black people are still seen as subhuman. If I go to China right now, I'm still going to face anti-black racism. If I go to India, if I go to Pakistan, if I go anywhere, I'm still going, like, all over the world, anti-blackness exists as a system. So how can I say that me being in a relationship with someone that still participates in the disenfranchisement and oppression of my people is a genuine relationship? Like, how can you qualify that?
Oh, can I ask you a question? Do you think
I
that
asked you a question.
Well, I need to answer my question with a question. Do you
That's not good.
believe? Well, it is what it is. Do you believe that every member
It's your
of
show.
every group is incapable of, I don't know, just like being a person that could overcome these beliefs in their group, like anti-blackness in their group, and be with someone like
You
if
know
they're not
what?
white?
You know what?
Because
So you're asking,
it's a
are
different
there?
thing for white people who continue to benefit from white privilege, right? People of other racial groups do not benefit from white privilege, even though they do benefit from anti-blackness. So is it your belief that anyone who comes from a different racial group, like they will just never get over anti-blackness, and thus being with them romantically is just net negative for the Black
Okay, so
community?
I'm gonna answer your question with a question. Do you believe I can jump to the moon?
I don't know. Can you?
I see. That's what we're dealing with, y'all. Naivety. Okay, cool. All right. We're dealing with someone that's willfully obtuse. You believe I can jump to the moon to the point where you can't answer that with a yes or no. It's up in the air. I don't know. Maybe. Can you? I don't know. So, okay, cool. You believe in things you've never seen before. And that's why you're making a ideological utopia where there's, I don't know, anti-racist.
It sounds like you're still trying to engage in the American dream, and it sounds like the American dream for you may potentially, or at least essentially has like gotten you so fixated on the point where you are possibly and potentially okay with the American dream not involving black men being in a black woman's life, which is weird because it's like, all right, so it also sounds like you have probably a lot of friends that have engaged in that, and maybe you personally yourself want to engage in that, which is why you're fighting so heavily to basically defend it here.
Well,
But
I don't think
I'm
I'm
telling
fighting
you,
for interracial relationships, first of all. I don't know if you heard me
I'm telling you
before,
this
but
as
they
the
are not
product
for
of
me.
an interracial relationship. I'm
I'm
telling you this as the
definitely
product of
black.
an
You can
interracial
go to my
relationship.
page.
The person that identifies as a black African. I'm telling you this as the product of an interracial relationship that identifies as a black African man. So I'm just letting you know that there's like a lot more like nuance. There's a lot more details to it that you're just completely like deliberately ignoring.
Like
Like
what?
there's a whole dynamic where literally YT men are charged less when they unalive their black partners. Like there's a whole dynamic where YT women are also charged less when unaliving their black male partners. Like there's a whole dynamic that exists with that. And even when they like YT males, when black women are forcibly engaged in human, and I'll try to say this in a friendly, TikTok friendly way, human or trafficking against their will, obviously. The largest solicitors of
Hold on,
that
Timothy.
industry.
Timothy. Damn.
Yes. Oh, she left.
I was gonna tell her Bob it.
All right.
Thank y'all for the Panther Paws, man. Appreciate y'all. Y'all been doing some great work for us so that we didn't have to do it ourselves. Thank you for the gifts. I was going to let Timothy land his plane because we're not talking to her. We talking to people that's listening. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like
you ain't gonna convince nobody.
Yeah. So I'll just let people know that like the largest demographic of individuals that solicit sex from the victims, black female and quite often underage victims of human trafficking, are middle-aged YT men married with children. So obviously there is literally a booming market for that. Otherwise it wouldn't be $1 billion industry and we wouldn't have tens of thousands of black women going missing every single year. Like this is real. This is what's really happening right now. And for them to be coming up onto the live talking about, well, maybe it could work out. Maybe it could work. Like, so you telling me that being like you're telling me that it being the largest demographic that is going to be forced to engage in sex trafficking is going to work out for you? Like
that's crazy. That's wild. Like we're still oppressed, y'all. Like we're still in the middle of it. Is not over just because Martin Luther King died for our sins. It's still going on right now. It's not over, y'all. Wake up. It's not over yet. It's still going on. You cannot turn around and love a people that are still participating in anti-blackness during our oppression, y'all. It's not time yet. You got to give it time. Put anti-racism in the oven. Let it cook. Let it simmer for. It's been going on for 500 years. Let it give it 500 years. And then we can seriously have these conversations. Right now, as long as race exists as a oppressive caste system built to exploit African bodies and resources, there's no way. We're not ready yet. Stop listening to these TV shows and basketball players and rappers telling y'all it's okay. It's not time yet. You gotta wait. As soon as they gave us the Loving versus Virginia, we turned around and ran back to the plantation to go marry Massa. It was crazy. It's not time yet. You gotta wait. Y'all not gonna get around how it's harmful. Now, can it exist in a way that it is less harmful? Possibly, but you're not gonna get around it being harmful.
Okay. I don't know if it's ever gonna be time. I'm not even gonna lie to you, and I hate to say it that way, but bruh, as a product of that environment, and the way it's still going, ain't no way that's right, bruh. They used to eat us.
I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying the same thing. You and me are both the products of that, and we are both saying the exact same. It's
don't do it.
Don't do it, y'all.
We're confused. Nah, look, I'm just playing.
Listen to the people who are the product of what y'all are trying to promote. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I know that's.
I'm
right.
like,
shout out to the biracial.
Go ahead.
Shout out to the biracial brothers and sisters out there that know that they are intentionally black, man. Shout out to the brothers. We got love for y'all, but we know it is a struggle to find yourself within yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like to have knowledge of self, to get to the conclusion of who you are, and your place even in our community, after being the product of a union in the middle of Black oppression between the oppressor and the oppressed. I'm sure that is a maze that you have to go through in order to find consciousness. So shout out to the brothers and sisters that did that work, because I know, some of us monoracial Black folks can barely make it. A lot of us don't. So you know what I'm saying?
And at this point, it's not even a maze. They just went straight to animal testing on us, bro. Because I look at some of these people, and it's like a Frankenstein of what they've created. Like, I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I wish it was just a simple maze you run to it, because eventually you always get to the cheese. But here, baby, it's impossible. You don't even have capability of eating it. Like, it's crazy, you know? Like, hey.
Before we move on, can I say this real quick? We have 347 people in here. I need you guys to get active on the tapping. Tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen. There's no reason why we have less than 30K with almost 400 people in the room. Tap the screen. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, if you're being educated and elevated, we need you guys to tap the screen. Turn in, tune up, and tap.
Oh, I think she went out.
Brother Legends Live here and on YouTube.
Okay, appreciate you, D. You were lagging. All right, yeah, you was lagging. We're gonna turn the comments back on at 50K, y'all. There's 300 people in here. Just tap like as you're in here listening. And when we get to 50K, we'll open up the comments. In the meantime, I'm going to go to our next guest. Steady, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
How y'all doing? Happy New Year.
Peace. What's going on?
All right now. I was just listening. You know, you guys, you in particular, are very very bright. This is a great subject for the community. That's the first thing. I think that you are part of the eye opener instead of the eye closer. And the other people that's on here. Um, my grandfather, my father's father, was a child of a Jewish so-called European man from Wales that came here and had a baby by an ex-slave. The daughter of an ex-slave, should I say. My grandmother was born in 1906. My grandfather was born in 1906 also. But his father came from Europe, Wales, and in the midst of that, him owning stores. Of course, they're merchants when they come over, of course. And the great grandmother was a worker who had got pregnant by a European Jewish man with a wife and children, which my grandfather was the product of. I would say this: I'm a man that was raised by a black man that was raised by a black man, because my grandfather, of course, born in 1906, he had no other nationality to claim or hold on to but the black nation, because his mother was on the other side of the tracks in Eudora, Arkansas, Backwood, Arkansas. That's on the border of Louisiana. So I was born in 1969. I'm 54 years old. I've seen a lot. So I was born in the 60s at the end and saw the transformation to what it is now, the whole thing. I mean, are interracial relationships harmful to the black community? Totally. You have to love yourself before you can love anyone else. We have not done that as a nation. And I appreciate you bringing that to the light, brother. That's 1000%. Is racial preference a fetish? Absolutely in that community. I went to Catholic school all my life to college. I also served in the military for 8 years, and every white male, almost every, let me not put the lie on it, almost every white male that I had, because they wasn't my friends,
Mm-hmm.
that I had engagement with or trained or camaraderie with, because of course I was in the military, I was on basketball teams, I played pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Their raising, their upbringing from a child that was, pretty much everybody was my age or older, uh, in grade school, high school, and college. Their underlying was to you ain't had sex until you had a black woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling you, this is real. This is a real thing that the parent, the father, I live in Chicago, they would take their son on the so-called black strip where prostitution in Don Juan had prostitutes. I was able to see it because I was born on the west side. Don Juan lived four houses down from where I was born. So I seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
They would bring their sons, pick up uh, the black sister, who's really trying to get some money, and she probably was hurting from drugs and from the addiction of what poison they put out there, and bless his son, so-called bless his son with black
Mm.
booty. If anybody understands what
Mm. Mm.
booty
Mm.
means, the real meaning of booty, our booty, um, that's a fetish. Uh, can non-black people be pro-black? Absolutely not. There's no such thing as another race that can absolutely love another race than themselves. That comes from self-love first. You love yourself. So if I love myself and I'm a white man, I'm gonna love white people. I'm gonna love my white woman, my white mother. I'm gonna love my white father. I'm gonna love my white brothers and sisters, my
Mm-hmm.
cousins, and my children. Then comes whoever your choice is that you want to go out and reach out to. For us, we didn't have that choice. No
Mm.
nation. I've been all over. I've been to Baghdad. I've been to Trinidad. I've been to Tibet. I've been I've been all over. I told you I did an 8 year tour. We're the most hated on this planet. On this planet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not speaking what I think coming from the streets of Chicago. I'm telling you what I experienced and what I know. In what I was touching on, it was just such a subject I didn't want to lose it because we talk about so much on these platforms, and then of course on your educational platform, but they used to cut the private parts of black people in Arabia when they steal them. They were the first to ignite outside and abroad. The Arabians was black slavery. That is their
Mm-hmm.
prohibition. They also eunuched the black male, castrated him. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, in certain parts of Asia right now, in Arabia, you will have a lesser, darker complected people where we dominated that whole part of northern, eastern, and western Asia. You guys got to understand that. You guys got to know that that is truth. Not what I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about, it's what I've seen, what I've heard when I talk to the villagers. This is something that really exists. Uh, Black brothers that's in Asia and Arabia, uh,
Mm.
that goes under Islam, they will have their doctrines and their servants. They would
Mm.
graduate from Harvard or Stanford and come back and try to do medicine, and they end up trapped in Arabia. It was a man that was in bondage. He was a actual slave that was trying to get back to Senegal, and he was stuck in Arabia during the time my time. I was down there doing Desert Storm. He still was 4 years trying to still get back to his home country in transition of coming from America to England to Arabia, and he had got stuck. So no, you can't be pro-black. Can black and white people culture peacefully coexist? Not after the war.
Mm.
Only when the war comes, when the actual war, the real
Mm.
physical war, the real dominant war, not just of the mind, but of the physicality. And that is what some of uh, us, I'll say my generation, because of course I'm X, I'm Generation
Mm.
X and up, are fearful because of the trauma. You guys, I want to let you guys know, I'm the third generation. I know you heard when my grandparents was born. I'm the third generation from slavery. You're talking
Yeah.
to them. You're
Yep. Me
talking
too.
to you're talking to a man whose father was born in 1930, whose mama was born in 1936.
Mm.
You're talking about their parents in the early 1900s, and the grandparents was born in 1967 and 73. Those on both
Mm-hmm.
sides. So we cannot exist or coexist until the black tribulation, the black love, the black eye opener, like yourself, young man. Fight, young man, fight. Fight, young man,
Mm-hmm.
fight. I know what you're doing. And that's why I was
Mm.
so quick to start the answer. So I apologize for the interruption. I just didn't want to lose that point.
Yeah.
There's no culture that can coexist because no one, listen, no one has the culture of the earth other than the black man. We started every single culture that it is, in from
Mm-hmm.
Greece to Italy to Pakistan in India to the Asian. Buddha was a black man. They not gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell you, but you go and you trace the lineage of Buddha. Buddha was a dark skinned, big boned, beautiful African descent. And there's no Asian that knows his history of the 15,000 years of Buddhism that will tell you Buddha was not a black man. So there, bang, there it goes again. You have
Mm.
started every single culture that exists that was stolen, just like jazz, just like rock, just like R&B, just like now hip hop.
Mm.
Your culture
Mm-hmm.
is the most dominant culture on the earth. Why? Because you started it all. And every culture began with you in the existence of someone's so-called other culture that's already yours. So how can you coexist with a culture that's already yours? But what happened is the evil culture is also yours. The evil culture. So the white T man only represents and reflects what we had in us for thousands of years. He is the exemplification. He is the living, walking what we had and hidden in ourselves that was unleashed for the last 6,000 years. But the last 468 years been terrorizing the real chosen people of the one God, okay? If you believe in that. We were the
Mm-hmm.
chosen of the first. We are the bloodline of the first. I'm not talking about everybody else. Yeah, sure, they want to lock it in. I'm talking about actual scriptures all over the Ethiopian Bible, whatever Holy Quran, whatever you want to trace that trail back, whatever writing, even on the black stone, which I've been able to see. The black stone is you, my man, and I appreciate you. And this part of the black stone representation that you're doing right now to open up eyes, to give vision, to give understanding, to give appreciation. You have to love yourself, love thyself. You know what I mean? Love thy God, love thyself first, then others. These people that has rulership comes from your bastardly line. Your bastardly
Mm.
line, meaning that your other self, your non-productive self, your evil side of yourself, your non-loving and caring of yourself. So they're not going to love you until you show absolute love to yourself. So no, you cannot have peace until you love yourself. And the sister that maybe I don't know if she's still on, you there's no way that you can love another nationality or you can hold up a flag for the Palestinians because guess what, sister, since you ain't been probably over there, I don't know if you have or you they don't like black people and
Mm-mm.
they stole that land. That's not their land, that's yours. You were pushed out of
Mm.
there. You were castrated. You were beaten. And you were ran from that territory. That is not their original land either, that they're so called fighting the Jewish nation for. That's not even their original land. So if you go to the caves, if you go close to the mountaintops in Palestine, you will see the darker colored man, and he will tell you he's been there since he can even remember the times. There's not a time when the darker man had existence on all different parts of this planet. So until
Mm-hmm.
you represent that, until you acknowledge that, how can you fight for so-called Mexican when you already got you got pyramids in Mexico?
All right.
Wake up.
We got some more people. You getting real
Hey,
deep
love you,
on us.
nephew. I appreciate you, man. I just wanted to drop a little science on it, you
All
know.
right.
And I love you, man. Stand up. Give these people what you need, man. I'm here. I'm just listening now.
All
Wait,
right.
before you
Appreciate
leave,
you.
wait, can I ask him? Have you ever tried
Mhm.
to impersonate
Have I?
Bernie Mac? I swear I think you would be a good one.
We talk
Yeah,
like that.
I think you
That's
would do a
just
good
Marty
one.
Mack is just a representation of how we talk in Chicago. He from the west side. I'm from the west
Mm.
side. That's
I
just how
love
we
it.
talk.
No, but I
Mm-hmm.
think I felt like you just had the tone. Okay, I love it. All right.
I love you too, Queen.
All right. Appreciate you, King. Shout out to Brother Steady dropping some gems. He knew the assignment. There's not really much to even say. He had ate the whole plate, but appreciate you. I'm gonna go to the next guest. Sega, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Hey, like you said, he done took the whole cake. My age is I am
Your
African
sound is real
American.
low, sister.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, that's better.
All right. So I'm 26. I am African American. And what was the other question? My pronouns
Pronouns.
100% she, her.
All right. Talk to us.
All right. So, do I feel like the iterations are harmful to the Black community? Yes. And then at the same time, no. So, my logic behind this is, and I need you all to understand, I'm not coming from a standpoint of it being uneducated or non lived,
How can
but my
anything be
family.
harmful and not harmful at the same time? That's like
It's kind of
saying
like
like
water.
something is poisonous, but it's also good for you. Like, how do you?
It's like water. Let me explain. Like, give a prime example is with water. So with water, if you have water, you can drink it and it's not poisonous, it's not harmful to you. But if you overdrink it and you oversaturate your body with it, it becomes a very toxic poison to the human body.
I don't know about that. The water talking about sounds like it was already poisoned to begin with.
Nope.
Yeah, that
Your
was some
body.
radicalism right there. How did
Yeah, because
you
Listen, man, I'm
escalate from
telling
you're
you,
water
if
drinking
becoming
you
water.
poison?
was
Everything is poison.
Water literally
because
is the
too
stuff of
much of
life.
anything is poisonous to you. Too much of anything is
That's
poisonous.
what I just said, but that's not what you said beforehand. What? That is not
Yeah,
what
I
you just
said
said.
water. If you overdrink water, it's too much of it will poison you.
Well, I mean, Queen, it was just the reason why I say it is just a bad analogy is because water, literally drinking like a gallon of water like a day actually has been shown to be very beneficial to you. And obviously you'd have to drink a massive amount for it to be poisonous. So generally speaking, drinking a lot of water is actually good for you. So it's just a bad analogy because there's no amount of being around white tea people that's going to be good for black people because historically that doesn't pan out. Like that doesn't. So it's, I mean, maybe you could say like if you decided to drink pool water, a little bit is okay. I don't see that's a good correlation. But
And they even put chemicals in the pool water when we were swimming in it, so you can't even drink that. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
I don't
chlorine
understand
So
that.
water.
let
I
her
don't
rock. I want
understand.
to hear this.
It's your turn, Sega.
Okay, I wasn't going to interrupt anybody, but I completely understand your opinions on it, and I respect that. But my standpoint and viewpoint, as is coming from, since everybody knows that it's harmful, I'm going to play the devil's advocate and also speak from a point where it's not as harmful. I mean, at the end of the day, let's be real. Outside of us looking at the black and white, we are also harmful to ourselves.
Oh, she did it.
I did
Oh,
it.
she
I
did it.
told you I'm going to do
This
the
is the
devil's
only
advocate.
way y'all can go is to blame black people for their own oppression.
Well, I'm
It
not
is
blaming.
so weird. It's so weird. Why do you do
Who is
this?
this y'all?
You
I
don't
am black
blame any other
myself.
group. You don't blame anyone
Or
else for their own oppression. You don't
one
blame
more.
Jews for the Holocaust because they did it
One
to
more.
themselves because they sinned against God. You don't blame Chinese people for the famine in the 1800s. You don't blame anyone else for their own oppression. I mean, the Chinese people thing, I
You know
guess
what
that
they
kind of was
say,
their fault. It was their ruler. But anyway,
Brother
what I'm
Legend?
trying to say is why do we are the problem. You're right. What you just said, as a black woman, you're one of the people that's the problem when you blame black people. That is so weird. We're not talking about problems in our community. We're talking
I
about
understand.
people. We're not talking like that's a different conversation. Don't even
And it,
go there. What
So
is
I
the
want
point of
again,
going there?
I want to
that's
tell you
why I
something,
said
Sega.
it
Brother
was the
Legend,
devil's
hold on,
advocate.
Sega. Freeze. You got 5 paws, so I want to tell her, Sega. Deuces.
why, why did she go there? I'm gonna say it again, y'all. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it in a calm voice. Hello, hello. That's how D be saying it. But anyway,
Hello.
so y'all, do not come up here and try to change the topic of the conversation about how interracial relationships can be harmful to the black community and put somehow the onus on black people. Don't do it. This is not that kind of discussion where we're up here to tear each other down. We're not doing that. This is a topic about how our oppression is amplified when we have a proximity in our intimate spaces to those that benefit from our oppression. This is what we're up here talking about. Do not come up here and try to hold black people accountable. You look crazy. I'm sorry. TikTok doesn't like the C word. You look loopy. You look like a cocoon. Don't come up here doing that. Go
Brother
ahead.
Legend,
What is that, Timothy?
This here is off of Black demographics, and basically what they do is they pull information from the United States Census Bureau in order to determine like what demographics of marriage rates as well as crime rates, so on and so forth. So I need everybody to pay attention to the marriage rates of Black men and Black women. So she made an argument that like, hey, we got to start focusing on ourselves and we got to start like we did this. We did like all that whole trying to blame Black people for their own oppression thing. So if we look at the data, it clearly shows here that in 1984, Reagan signed a very specific Sentencing Reform Act. And in 1971, that's when they also declared the war on drugs. Now, between those two pivotal moments in American history, right after they did that, that's when you see a massive, massive, massive spike in Black marriages no longer being a thing. So obviously, if we are looking at the actual data, we are not at fault for our own oppression because it was deliberately done to us. You mean to tell me that we're at fault for this random spike here, but it just so happens, oh, it's hey, we don't know how it happened, but these laws just so happen to be put at the exact same time that this massive spike took place and this mass incarceration thing started happening where a lot of Black men were forcibly taken out the homes, and then they started pumping the Black communities with a ridiculous amount of drugs, like in order to fund these wars. Well, they pumped the drugs first, and then they used that as an excuse to justify mass incarceration. But like, come on, y'all. Like, it's like we all form these anti-Black opinions and don't nobody do a damn lick of research. Like, sheesh.
Yeah. All right. Well, y'all saw the data. That's what we up here to do is teach y'all. Shout out to everybody that sent those Panther paws through though. Appreciate y'all. Peace and power. Yeah. That was
shout out to the data.
Brother.
Right. Shout out to the data.
What's that?
You're getting a lot of divestors today.
Yeah, I did. I got more divestors than Passport Bros. That's pretty wild. Everybody, I'm going to need y'all to tap like. We're trying to get to 75K likes. I'll turn the comments back on when we get to 75K. Right now we're at 62 as you listen along. Just keep tapping like, and we'll keep the questions rolling. Also, when you tap like and we get to 75K, I'll open the comments and some of y'all can answer in the comments. Don't forget that we are not just up here on Debate Talk. Appreciate you, me, myself, and I. We're not up here just to debate. Also, we are a nonprofit, b1initiative.org. We're building a Afrocentric Pan-African Wikipedia page to teach children Black history. If you want to be a part of that, if you want to donate, $ Bring Down Babylon is where you need to go. And you can also get updates about where your money is going on b1initiative.org, where we'll be posting updates to the website, sankofapedia.org. So yeah, B1 Initiative, donate, bring down Babylon. That's the Cash App right there. Send $1, send $5. There's 300 people in here. I know somebody has $5, $1 to give, just so that we can continue to build something for our people. Peace, Kofi. What's going on, brother? Prince Kofi in the building. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Also, it's tax deductible, if you had to know. The next person, Light Beings, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
All right. My name is Michael. I'm 43 years old. Yeah, I'm a straight male in an interracial relationship.
Your race?
Nigerian and white.
You can't be both of those.
I'm mixed.
That's not a race.
Nigerian. My father's white.
Okay, so when you come to America and you see J. Cole, do you see Americans treat him as a Black or a white man?
A black man.
Okay, and so when you go to Europe, do they treat you like a white man?
No, they treat me like a black man.
All right, so what are you?
Black.
All right, let's talk. Go ahead, answer the questions for us.
Are interracial relationships harmful? No. Is racial preference a fetish? No. Can non-black people be pro-black? Yes. Can black and white cultures peacefully exist? Yes.
F.
Hard.
You did get up. That was the quickest F I think we've ever.
That's
That was a quick F, man.
That's
Like
fine.
that, you're a minute man.
that,
A quick F.
that
Sister
F
take a quick
minus.
F. That's why D said.
Bro didn't even turn in
Man.
the assignment.
Yeah, that F has been stricken from the record with that minus. So no, that didn't even count. Look.
Dun, 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 dun. Anyway,
yeah.
okay, so
Three
I
more
don't know.
pause.
D, you want to talk to him?
Sure,
Go
why not?
ahead.
This is gonna be awesome. So the first thing is, you said you're in an interracial relationship, right?
Yeah.
And
28
you're saying
years.
that it's not harmful to the black community. That's awesome for you. So when it is racial preference or a fetish, why would it not be a fetish? What makes it a preference?
Why would it be a fetish?
How is it a preference?
It's my preference to date who I choose to and marry who I choose to.
It's a preference to date who you choose to and marry who you choose to. Then
Yes.
why does her skin matter? What is the difference between a white woman and a black woman?
Her skin doesn't matter.
So then how is it a preference?
What are you trying to get at?
I'm wondering what you're trying to get at. Because if you're basing it off the fact that she's not black,
I didn't say that. I don't care what she is.
you obviously do.
Then it's not a
Black,
preference.
Asian, white.
If you don't care, then it's not a preference. If you prefer something, that means you prefer something. If you have no preference, then it's not a preference.
So
Having
what
no
makes it a
preference
fetish
is not a
then?
preference. Having a preference.
So what? So how is it a fetish and a preference? Which one is it?
It's a fetish to have a racial preference.
So I don't have one. So
Okay.
what's the problem?
We didn't say there was a problem.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand because all I've heard, because I've been listening for a little bit, is statistics, and
How
it
is your-
seems, it seems more of.
Sir, just let
it
me ask
seems
you this.
more of hate
How is your Elsa
than fixing.
pro-black? How is your Elsa pro-black? I want to know.
Because she's educated on being
That
black.
has nothing to do with black people.
Oh no.
So she hates
no.
black people.
No, I said that has nothing to do with
Oh.
black people. I'm trying to figure out how she's pro-black.
Okay, I have a question for you. When a white woman bears a black child, what does that make her in America?
Idiot.
No, it makes her what? What does everyone else see her now?
A white woman that had a black child.
No,
A
no, no.
white woman.
Listen to me very
What,
carefully.
sir?
What is she
A white
considered?
woman having a black child? That's
What is she
unheard of.
considered when she has a child of any skin color outside of white in America?
White woman that had.
White.
She's considered black from now on.
Boy, bye. You
By
better
everyone
Get
outside
out.
of white, she's not
But
considered
wait,
black.
can I say this though? So light beings,
It's funny that you're responding this way, right? But when you first got up to the panel, you couldn't even acknowledge your own blackness. You don't see the irony in that?
Who
You
said I
couldn't
did?
even
I'm
hold
pretty
on,
sure I
wait.
said Nigerian. That's black.
Nigerian
You
ain't black.
said that your race was mixed. You don't even identify yourself as you. You saying that you're black doesn't all of a sudden erase your YT parent, but you don't identify yourself as black. Why?
Because he's a light being. He isn't light skinned. He's light
No,
being.
no. This is my issue. It just seems like the only thing that I've heard from here is division. That's it.
I'm trying to understand
There's
how
no
you gonna
there's no
replace
love. There's no
I've heard nothing but
understanding. Very
unity on this
simply
live.
that
Wait,
this
hold on,
man
hold on,
cares
hold on.
more
'cause
about being right
Hold on.
No,
than
stop.
spreading hate and division than anything.
Hate and division. Stop it. I've heard nothing but black love and black unity on this live. I don't do nothing else with that.
Really?
Shout out to them sisters. Shout out to them brothers. Y'all know who you are. Whether you biracial, whether you speak Spanish, English, French, Creole. Shout out to my brothers and sisters. We unifying on my live. We don't do that here.
Well,
Absolutely.
let me say this. I heard
Go
erasure
ahead.
of black women, particularly monoracial black women.
When you have a black man talking about a YT woman just because she had a black child is now, and even in the sense you are, okay, I shouldn't even call your child black. Let me not be funny because washing out
No,
the
go
race is
ahead.
a
Say
real
what you're
thing.
gonna say. You're not gonna hurt my
Hold
feelings.
on, washing out the race is a real thing, and it only takes I think 1 or 2 generations to do just so. So
Three.
even in the midst of this conversation, when we're talking about like someone becomes black because they had a black child, is the most insane thing I've ever heard. That is
No.
erasure
You
of
didn't hear
black
me. You
women.
didn't. I said, what do
It doesn't
her
matter.
white
She not
race
black.
consider her after she's had a
A white
interracial child?
woman
A
that
white
had a
No,
woman.
child.
they don't.
They do.
No, they do.
No,
You're not
they
like
don't.
you're not going to change history because you're trying to prove some illogical point. There's no way a
Yeah,
white woman becomes a different race when she got to
I
go
didn't.
to
I
this.
didn't say
She
she
got to go to
became a
the
different
U.S.
race.
Census Bureau and tell everyone I had a black child, y'all. So I'm
I didn't
white.
say
I'm
she.
not white anymore.
But
Like
you
you
have to
sound
understand, I've lived
ridiculous.
this relationship for 28 years.
So like,
Well, you also didn't know you was black till you came up here,
That
No,
part.
bro.
that's
You have
hilarious.
the
Yeah, I
baby
didn't
you
know I was
deserve.
black.
have a day, sir.
You had 5 pounds.
Have a
That's
Okay.
what
day.
you
All
deserve.
right.
Go get a life, get a grip, and realize what race you are.
That
that's
was
crazy. Like,
ridiculous.
I was just about to ask him, like, all right, so what happens when she doesn't have the mixed African child around her and she's just walking through a white neighborhood? Like, what do they sense? Can they smell like African children? Like, does she had children? Like, what? Like, what are you what are you talking about?
Ridiculous. Hey, me, myself, and I. Oh, that's crazy. Everyone enjoyed the movie. Oh, that's crazy. Appreciate you, me, myself, and I. Yeah, that was my. Y'all hear my wife? I don't know if y'all can hear her. She in the back yelling.
Awesome. Thank you, me, myself, and I. We always get a show when me, myself, and I and SB are around. We appreciate that.
Okay, so shout out to me, myself, and I didn't get a hand clap. All right, we got that person up out of here. I don't know what was going on. Let's go to the next guest. Beasts of I forgot. It's Beasts of Wawa. Give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Hello, I am 23. I'm black. I'm proud, and my pronouns are he, him.
Wait, hold on. Let me tell my wife to stop watching. Get off the phone, man. Get off. Get off. Don't listen to this. Mute your phone. Mute your phone.
No,
Oh
you
my God.
didn't. No, you didn't.
I'm playing. Go ahead, Beast of Wawa. Answer the questions for us, brother.
All right. Are interracial relationships harmful to the black community? It's an uncomfortable truth. We gotta say it. It's a resounding yes. They are in fact harmful to the black community. I would say this, seeing as I have a first sister. She is, from what I understand, identified as white now, whitey, no snowflake type. No, she identifies as that. I mean, she loves him. Bless her heart. And then I also have a cousin. He's literally turning 18 this year, and my goodness, he is a white tea mother, but he calls himself biracial. And I'm like, oh, stop it. Then he says, I like white girl. Stop it.
Oh no. Yeah, he
The
gone.
chacoonery is crazy.
Yep.
That's why, man. No, but I try to tell them, like, listen, okay, like, you know who you are. And my sister, you could look at her and you would think almost often than not that she was possibly Hispanic. And it's crazy. Like, I tell her, like, well, I understand, like, don't be siding with the Hispanics now.
What happened?
It's to that. I mean, my cousin, he's just like, like, I don't know if I identify as like just black. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you don't identify as just black? Like, come on, like, you can't be one or you can't. You can either be one, not the other two. You can't. You just can't do it. And racial preference is a fetish. I mean, it's right there in the sentence. It's a fetish. It's a fetish. And it's a preference. It's sad to really identify this type of stuff. I was listening to a wall of pretendians earlier. They were scaring the hell out of me. And yes, it is sad. It's sad to see. And it goes on for generations. It can go on for generations at a time. And that's the sad thing for me, because it's like, dang, why don't we tell our people about this? Yeah.
Mm.
And then can non-black people be pro-black? I would say no. Because
Appreciate you, SB.
I will only say that because anti-racism does not equate to being pro-black, and that's all they can be. Anti-racist. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you are ingrained. It is ingrained to your childhood. You are raised to hate. You're raised to hate. And heck, when your family pushes that onto you, you get these like inside emotions. You're getting confused. You're like, well, you might even like a black girl. You might even like a black woman. You might even like her. But then they feel conflated. And I've talked to many about this. They're like conflicted on the inside with like how they love her, like what they actually feel like deep down on the inside. And then they end up breaking it off because they can't live out their life with her. They know that from the get-go. They tell me this. They know that from the get-go. Getting with a black woman, like, it's never going to be for life in their minds. It's never going to be for life.
Mm.
And can black and white tea culture peacefully coexist? Hell no. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Not much of an explanation needed there.
No. Nothing else.
Okay.
I thank you for letting me up here to talk. I'll put myself
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
Good for him, though. So I was asked in the chat to ask you what kind of woman you like.
Oh my goodness. Listen, I gotta tell you all this, okay? I got a woman, okay? I got a woman. She's strong, okay? She's strong with a K. She's strong with a K. Yeah. Oh my God.
Y'all gonna get him in trouble. Is she a sister though? That's what I think they want to know.
Yes, sister. Okay.
Okay.
Listen, first and foremost, okay? The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Come on now.
Absolutely. We love to see it, man.
I am
wish
a
y'all
people,
the
baby.
Keep protecting that black woman. All right. We're gonna go to the next guest. I gotta make some room. If anybody else wants to drop, you can. Prince of Coffee, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
I'm 30.
Prince Coffee.
I'm him. I am him. I'm 35.
Okay.
Absolutely. What's going on, bro?
African man, 35, and I'm him.
Absolutely.
I just want to come answer these questions for tonight. I was in the comment, and that brother just ticked me off. You know, when he said Nigerian, well, I was like, what are you talking about?
Because when you talk to Nigerians, I'll be honest, usually they give you where they from. I mean, not usually. Sometimes, I don't know, 50-50. But those that are like proud of who they are tend to tell you, like, if they're Hausa or Igbo or like where they like what society they come from. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the word tribe, but they'll tell you where they from.
They tell you who they are, as they should. That's what we speak. Usually, who we are is in our language. So if you say Igbo man, they speak Igbo. That's the whole culture. That's Yoruba, they speak Yoruba. I'm an Ewe man, I speak Ewe. So usually that's how we identify, ourselves when we come, when we talking to any outsider don't know who we are. To explain it to them to know who we are, that's how we identify ourselves. Maybe the modern cats are, trying to be proud of, their country, whatever, but that's not how I usually rock. But I mean, some of them then doing them. But I'm just going ahead and answer this question for the family. Are interracial relationship harmful to the black community? Yes, they are harmful. I think.
And why are they harmful?
They're harmful because we.
Pink Razor, hold on. It's not that kind of live.
They're really harmful because people like you interrupting when adults are speaking. But don't interrupt. But they're harmful because we usually have one of those in our family. Each family have one of those relationship in our family, and we can see how harmful it is to the family. So therefore, they're really, really harmful. I personally, I feel bad for my little brothers and sisters that are going into that route. But like I said, we got to re-educate ourselves and know that, we can't allow those things to keep continuing. But yeah, they're really harmful. We got to stay away from that. Gotta be careful. Is it racial? Is it racial preference or a fetish? Oh yeah, that's just it's definitely a fetish for them. Fetish, hard fetish for them. Cause non-black people they can't be pro-black. And even if hell froze, come back, this is not gonna happen. Can black and white culture peacefully coexist? Never. Well, white people don't have a culture. I mean, they gotta have a culture before we can coexist. They don't have a culture. Only thing the culture have taught us is they colonize, steal, robs. That's all they know. So how can we coexist with people that rob us and grip us? And I mean, they continue showing their culture to us. So we can never coexist with these people. They don't have a culture. They first got to find a culture before we can coexist with them. I'll let my family.
All right. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for that word. Straight from the motherland. Everybody, follow Prince Coffee. He hosts lives as well. Good brother. Pan-African that seeks to unify our people. So give him a follow as well. I'm a big fan of this brother's platform. Appreciate you, Coffee.
Coffee
All
don't
right. Yeah. All right. Everybody, don't forget to keep tapping like. We're trying to get to 100K likes. And thank you to SB for supporting the live goal. Don't forget, we are not just a TikTok live. We are also a nonprofit. $ Bring Down Babylon. To donate, it's tax deductible. We are building a Wikipedia site for young children to learn about African and Black history. So yeah, give us $1, give us $5, give us whatever you got. Spare it over. It is tax deductible. But also, if you want to get updates on the progress that we're making, which we are making a lot of progress, especially this past week, then join us on b1initiative.org. That is our website, but also a Discord group that you can join and talk with some Pan-African brothers and sisters. We got thousands of hours of lectures on these topics and more. We've got a lot of value. We're building a community, y'all. So if you want to come together with some of your brothers and sisters, b1initiative.org and donate to b1initiative.org through this Cash App, $ Bring Down Babylon. All right. Next guest, Pink Razor. Could you give us your age, race, and pronouns? You're muted.
Okay, is it on now?
Yes, your age, race, and pronouns, please.
I am Caucasian. I'm 35, and my pronouns are she and her.
All right. Talk to us.
So I'm just curious on, you're showing, evidence that our cultures can coexist with the pictures that you have in the background. So I'm confused on why you guys have a problem with it.
So you're talking about the picture where Halle Berry says that it's difficult to pay a man who calls her the N-word? Or do you mean the picture where the black man is now currently in jail? Or I don't know. I what
I
are you
understand
referring?
I
Where's the
understand
evidence?
those situations got out of control, but they both were attracted to each other. They were both in a relationship. They have kids together. They were married. So how is that not coexisting?
Because he calls her the N-word. It says peacefully coexist. We know that if you kidnap a people, bring them to your land, and then forcibly procreate with them, that you're technically coexisting. But we said peaceful. And as long as there's violence against a people, an oppressed people, it's not peaceful. Whether you guys want to pretend you don't see that it hurts or it's harmful, you guys want to pretend you don't see color, which means you don't see oppression. You can do that all you want, but it's not peaceful.
No,
There can be no peace in the absence of justice. It's Martin Luther King Day. Let me quote Martin Luther King.
Okay.
Negative peace is the absence of what is it?
Love.
What is it? No, please don't do that. Hold on. Negative peace. Black Swan, you usually help me with this one. I forgot this. It's MLK Day, y'all. Negative peace is the absence of the absence of, it's not like hostility, but I'm gonna paraphrase Martin Luther King. Negative peace is the absence of hostility,
I think it's
tension. That's what he
violence or
said.
conflict.
Negative peace.
Oh,
Hold on.
never mind.
Oh, you got it? Who got it?
Kay was saying violence, but it's ain't tension.
No, it's
Tia, she said tension. Yeah, I said violence or conflict.
No, that's not it.
Tension.
Negative peace is the absence of tension. Positive peace is the presence of justice. So there we go. Negative peace is the absence, meaning there is no tension. Who wants negative peace? Those that don't want to acknowledge oppression. They just want the tension to be gone. Positive peace is the presence of justice where there is no violence. As long as Black people are still the most unemployed, lacking of resources, disenfranchised, most incarcerated, least to live past 65.
Whoa, but you're mentioning problems that are
Hold on. Don't interrupt me on Martin Luther King Day. See, this is what I'm saying. Let me finish. I'm not saying false statistics here. Like, calm down. Please, you gotta keep a lid on it. To understand that you being Caucasian doesn't give you any privilege in this space. Just calm down. All right. So the most incarcerated, the least likely to live past 65. I don't know how that's a controversial statistic. It's true as hell. Black men's life expectancy has gone down, especially since COVID. So anyway, least likely to live to retirement age. The least hired demographics in America are both Black men and Black women, despite Black women having the most degrees than any other demographic in America. The most educated, they are still not picked as much as white women that just got a high school diploma. What I'm trying to say is, as long as that hostility still exists, there will not be a peaceful coexistence. That just doesn't pan out. I know you guys want to pretend it's peaceful. It's not happening. It hasn't happened yet. I don't think it will happen as long as there is such thing as white and such thing as Black. As long as those two continue to be the racial order, the social order of society, then there's not going to be peace. And I